Hi there tenors and welcome to another new song. This time it's Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier. So the song starts here, that's that pitch. Men it should feel high in your voices, women it should feel low. And we have simply got dum ba-dum 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 dum ba-dum 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 dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, and there are 12 of those in total. We won't do all 12 in one go, but it's nice and simple, just alternating between two notes. Dum ba-dum 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 dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. Yeah, so just up and down over those and keep them nice and short and percussive. Once you've done 12 of your dum-ba-dums, we're going to go into a little sort of call and response style bit where the basses are going to be singing the main tune and you're going to be echoing everything they're singing. So you have now, when you finished your final dum-ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, go back up to that note there. So we've literally only been singing two notes so far. You go to the top note of that and you start doing this. Oh, yeah, so that's just oh. And in terms of how long you hold it, it's oh. Breathe on that 4. Yeah, so 2, 2 and 4. Or should I say 2, 2 and 3 with a breath on 4. So oh. Yeah, and that's going to lead into certain kind of sadness off. Now you're going to add in an additional O here. Oh. So you can see that there's an extra O before you go back to where you were. So the first time you had oh, but now oh. So down, up, down, up. Yeah. Your next line, always to the end, is the same. Always to the end, as the other line was. So now you've got oh, certain kind of sadness. Oh, always to the end, off. Yeah, so the nest of sadness and the end, don't hold it very long because you're going to fit in an extra O there. So you've got 3 O's to start. Oh, certain kind of sadness. Oh, always to the end. Oh. Now, we've got the same notes here, but we are doubling the time as we come down the next phrase. So where you had always to the end, you're now going to have we would still be friends. We would still be friends. So each of those are held for 2. We would still be, and then it goes into normal timing, friends. Yeah? So the whole of that section sounds like oh, certain kind of sadness. Oh, always to the end. Oh, we would still be friends. And the very final line goes, glad that it was over. And that ver is actually going into the chorus now. The ver starts your chorus. So the last line is, glad that it was over. And you can build that, really gradually get a crescendo going so that we can really build up to the chorus. So that was, we would still be friends, glad that it was over. So that's going to be quite high for the guys when you get up to the top there. Lovely. Let's have a look at your chorus then. It's just an R, and the pattern is going to be ah, it's repeated 6 times. So your choruses are a ah, ah, but because you've come in with the word over, you've done glad that it was over. Ah, sneaky. The word over does indeed carry over, and you're turning the ver into your ah for the chorus. So try not to do over, a dark sound, because it will then sound like voo. So go into an ah shape. Nobody will know. So that's going to be glad that it was over. Ah, ah, ah. Repeated. You're going back into dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Yeah, so just finding that root note where you started. So you've done ah, you need to go back up to dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. There's 4 of them. Dum, ba-dum, 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 dum, ba-dum, 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 dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Now that note you've left off there is going to lead you into the next little bit. Now this is a real crescendo, this section. You're going to come in with da-da, 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 da-da on that lower note of your 2 favourite notes in this song. So on your 4th, dum, ba-dum, 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 you stay there and you do da-da, 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 get louder, da-da, 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 and stop. And that stop is super important because the rest of the choir there are going to go completely silent and just allow the sopranos to do somebody that you used to know. And it's a really exciting part, so don't sing past that final da-da-da-da. There are 7 of them, really worth counting those to make sure you don't do an extra one because you'll probably want to. So that's just simply on the same note, and it's the lower of those 2 favourite notes. They're probably not favourite notes, but you know what I mean. We sing them lots in this part. So it's we're going to gradually grow them. So da 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 da. 2, 3, 4. Then you're back in. Yeah. So you have a little count of 2, 3, 4 of complete silence, and then you have your ah chorus like you did before. So now you only have 4 of those. So you're going to have ah, 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 ah. When you get to the 4th one of those, you're going to go into your outro. That entails the following. You're going to hear the sopranos go, somebody. So you have a little gap and you'll hear somebody. And you have that I used to know, that I used to know, that I used to know. Yeah, so again, you're really only singing 3 things there. That I used to know. The next one goes, that I used to know, that I used to know. First one is the same as the 3rd. That I used to know. Big long gap here, and then you're going to have an additional ooh to that now. So now you're going to have ooh, that I used to know, ooh, that I used to know, ooh, that I used to know. And I'd really like to swell those oohs so they become ooh, that I used to know, ooh, that I used to know, ooh, that I used to know. So there's a real crescendo on those as well, so we get a really nice dynamic sound there. And finally, for the women, if this is too low, there's just a final somebody, which might feel a little bit too low for you. If it is, then put it up to somebody. But the important thing here is the timing of that somebody, because everybody in the choir is singing that together, apart from the line that goes whoop at the very end, which is always fun. That's in the sopranos though. So we're going to have who that I used to know, who that I used to know, who that I used to know, somebody. And the reason I just opened my eyes very wide there is to try and get you to hear that the bod and the D are before the beat. Somebody. In your last chorus, you did 4 sets of and that note there is the same one you're going to come into, that I used to know. So you don't really have to go anywhere. So when you've done you can stay on that note, that I used to know, that I used to know, that I used to know. Who that I used to know, who that I used to know, who that I used to know, somebody. And that's it, you're done. Try singing it all the way through and see how you get on. Dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, 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 dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. Oh, certain kind of sadness. Oh, always to the end. Oh, we would still be friends. Glad that it was over. Dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum, dum ba-dum ba-dum ba-dum. Da-da da-da, da-da da-da, da-da da-da, da-da da-da, da-da da-da, da-da da-da, da-da da-da. That I used to know, that I used to know, that I used to know. Who that I used to know, who that I used to know, Ooh, that I used to know somebody.